Everyone told me I was crazy, retiring before 50 and living out of a suitcase while my peers were still grinding towards some distant finish line they weren't even sure existed. But here's the kicker. I'm not rich, I'm not inheriting anything, and I didn't sell a startup. I just figured out something most people never bother to question about the relationship between money and time. The whole system runs on one deceptively simple concept called the 4% rule, which basically says if you withdraw 4% or less of your portfolio annually, your nest egg statistically survives 30 or more years. And suddenly, retirement stops being a destination and starts being a math problem you can actually solve. What changed for a lot of early retirees wasn't income. It was the realization that geographic arbitrage, living in places where your dollar stretches 2 or 3 times further, is basically a salary raise you never had to negotiate for. Think about it. Paying $2,000 a month in a high-cost city versus spending $700 in Lisbon, Chiang Mai, or Medellin for a better apartment, better food, and arguably a better life is the kind of contrast that makes your old budget look like a financial prank someone played on you. The psychological shift is where people get tripped up because the fear of running out is so loud that even people with enough money to retire sit frozen, and behavioral economists have a name for it. They call it one more year syndrome, and it is shockingly common. Sequence of returns risk is the technical boogeyman here, meaning a market crash in your first few years of retirement can devastate a portfolio. Even if the long-run average returns look fine, so smart early retirees build a cash buffer of 1 to 2 years of expenses that acts like a shock absorber between them and a bad market. History shows us that the people who retired into the teeth of 2008 or 2000 didn't all go broke. The ones who had flexible spending, diversified income streams like rental income or part-time consulting, and low overhead actually came out the other side intact. A common misconception is that you need to have $1 million liquid in a brokerage account before you even think about this, when in reality, many full-time travelers are running on combinations of dividend income, rental cash flow, remote freelance work, and modest index fund withdrawals that together create something more durable than any single source. The practical lesson is boring, but it's the whole game. Keep your fixed expenses ruthlessly low. Own income-producing assets before you quit, and treat your withdrawal rate like a dial you can turn down in bad years, rather than a rigid contract you signed in blood. You don't need conviction about the market or perfect timing. You need a position size in life. Expenses small enough that volatility in one asset class doesn't crater your entire plan, and that's a design choice, not a lottery ticket. The irony that most people miss is that the safe path, working 30 more years to retire at 65, with a number that feels comfortable, actually carries its own enormous risk. The risk of spending your healthiest, most energetic decades building someone else's dream while yours quietly expires. Discipline, diversification, and spending flexibility matter infinitely more than the size of your starting portfolio. And the people living this life will tell you the scariest part wasn't the leap, it was realizing how long they waited for permission no one was ever going to give them. Whether the market cooperates or throws a tantrum, a well-designed early retirement with low overhead and multiple income streams is built to bend without breaking. And that resilience is the whole point of the design. If any of this sparks something, and you're wondering how real estate, smart lending, or even a contracting project might fit into your own version of this plan, check out our links in the description below. We can help you get started.